Have you ever had a dream that just wouldn't let you go? One that wakes you up in the middle of the night and keeps your mind racing? For me, that dream was always about building something of my own. Not just a job, not just a career, but a legacy. Today, I want to share the real, unfiltered story of how that dream went from a scribble in a notebook to a reality. It wasn't easy, and it definitely wasn't glamorous, but it was worth every single step. My story starts in a place I think many of you will recognize: a cubicle. I had a good job, a steady paycheck, and what most people would call a safe career path. But every morning as I sat down at my desk, I felt this nagging sense that I was living someone else's life. The work was fine, but it didn't light a fire in me. The real excitement, the real passion, happened after 5 p.m. That's when I'd rush home, grab a quick bite, and open up my laptop to work on my side hustle. At the time, it was just a little project, an idea I had to solve a problem I was personally facing. I loved creating custom, high-quality leather goods, but I found it incredibly hard to find unique patterns and affordable tools. I figured if I'm having this problem, maybe others are too. So I started a small blog. I shared my projects, wrote tutorials on leatherworking techniques, and reviewed the tools I was using. It was just a hobby. I didn't think much of it. But then something amazing started to happen. People started reading. They started commenting, asking questions, and sharing their own projects. An actual community was forming right before my eyes, all centered around this shared passion. The turning point came when people started asking if they could buy the patterns I was designing. At first, I just gave them away for free, but the requests kept pouring in. That's when a light bulb went off. What if this hobby could be more? What if this little blog could become a real business? The thought was both thrilling and absolutely terrifying. Leaving my stable job felt like jumping off a cliff without knowing if there was water below. I spent months wrestling with the decision. I created endless spreadsheets, calculated my savings, and projected worst-case scenarios. My friends and family were supportive, but also cautious. "Are you sure about this?" was a question I heard a lot. And honestly, no, I wasn't sure, not 100%. But I was more afraid of the regret of not trying than I was of the possibility of failing. So I did it. I handed in my resignation. The day I walked out of that office for the last time was one of the most surreal days of my life. It was a mix of pure exhilaration and sheer panic. Suddenly, my safety net was gone. I was the CEO, the marketing department, the product designer, the customer service rep, and the janitor, all rolled into one. The first 6 months were a blur. I was working 16-hour days, fueled by cheap coffee and sheer determination. My office was a tiny corner of my apartment, piled high with leather scraps, shipping boxes, and prototypes. Every day was a new challenge. One day, my website would crash. The next, a shipment of materials would be delayed. Another day, I'd get a critical review that felt like a punch to the gut. There were so many moments when I wanted to give up. I remember one particularly low point, about 3 months in. Sales had flatlined. I just poured my last bit of savings into a new piece of equipment, and a big marketing campaign I'd planned completely flopped. I sat on my floor, surrounded by boxes, and just thought, what have I done? I seriously considered polishing up my resume and begging for my old job back. But then I opened my email, and there was a message from a customer. It was a woman from a small town who had used one of my patterns to make a wallet for her father's birthday. She sent a picture of him holding it, beaming with pride. She wrote about how my tutorials had given her the confidence to try a new craft and how much joy it brought her. That email changed everything. It reminded me why I started this in the first place. It wasn't just about selling products. It was about empowering people to create, about building a community, and about sharing a passion. It was the fuel I needed to keep going. Slowly but surely, things started to turn around. I learned from my mistakes. I got better at marketing, I streamlined my production process, and most importantly, I kept listening to my community. They told me what they wanted, what they needed, and I did my best to deliver. The business grew from a few sales a week to dozens, then hundreds. I finally moved out of my apartment corner and into a small workshop. I hired my first employee, which was another terrifying and amazing milestone. Seeing someone else believe in my dream enough to join the team was an incredible feeling. Together, we launched new products, expanded our reach, and continued to grow the community that had been there from the very beginning. It's been a few years since I took that leap of faith, and I can tell you, the journey is far from over. There are still hard days. There are still challenges and moments of self-doubt. That's just the nature of running a business. But the difference now is that I know I can handle it. Every obstacle I've overcome has made me stronger and more resilient. And the rewards, they're immeasurable. It's not just about the financial success. It's about the freedom to build my own schedule. It's about the pride of seeing an idea become a tangible thing that people love. It's about the connections I've made with fellow creators all over the world. It's about waking up every morning excited to work, knowing that what I do makes a difference, even if it's just in a small way. Looking back, would I do it all again? In a heartbeat. If you're out there with a dream of your own, sitting in a cubicle or working a job that doesn't fulfill you, I hope my story gives you a little bit of encouragement. It's not an easy path, and it's not for everyone. But if you have a passion that you just can't shake, if you have an idea that keeps you up at night, maybe it's time to listen to that voice. Start small, start as a side hustle. Test your idea, build a community, and learn as you go. You don't have to jump off the cliff right away. You can build a bridge, one plank at a time. The most important thing is just to start. Take that first step. Write that first blog post, design that first prototype, make that first sale. You'll be amazed at where that one small step can lead. The journey of 1,000 miles truly does begin with a single step. And who knows? Your dream might just be the next big thing. Thanks so much for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep building.